Frozen waters. I mean, so much power to Lewis because I can't even, get in the shower if the temperature is not perfectly right. I have no idea how he was able to do this, although I do have an inkling, and I think that it's really just his determination to, again, make a better world for the future and current generations that are coming up in a really unstable, volatile, even climate. And he blends words with actions, right? He's going to speak to government officials about these concerns and how best to deal with them, but he's also taking action through his swims as a kind of protest of sorts. And it really is powerful because while we're not in that water, we can almost feel the cold just watching him do it. And that makes the mind churn and really realize the gravity of what we're dealing with here. It's very well done on a psychological basis, particularly.
Frozen waters. I thought this was really interesting and really intriguing to have this kind of idea of like a protest swim, of pushing your body to the limits, of sacrificing your physical being to make a point and to try and galvanize other people and try to inspire other people to take any kind of action when you are willing to go to such an extreme action, I think is really, really interesting. And I think that it can have a really big impact. And the story and the incredible feat that he was able to accomplish and obviously survive and continue to push, continue to fight for, I think is so amazing. But also the challenge itself, I think, is kind of eye-opening to a lot of people, because obviously if you're not in Antarctica, if you're not in a place in the world where you're seeing these, kind of ice caps melting. And yes, there are some countries that definitely see that in their kind of normal lives. But if you're not in one of those places, then I think that even though we hear like the ice caps are melting, and we hear all of this through news, through social media, through all of these different things, it's different hearing about it and seeing like there are rivers, there are lakes, there are, things that didn't used to exist when we used to see these pictures of these ice caps, of this land, of this area. It used to be all ice and there was none of this existed, 30 years ago. But now seeing it and seeing like a human being can survive, granted it's extreme, but a human being can survive and swim through these areas is kind of crazy, because I think it forces the realization that of like it connects what we've all heard of like these things are melting to what is actually happening. And I think that when it's something that's abstract, you have a harder time putting it into a real world scenario where it has a bigger effect and a bigger impact. And I think by choosing this kind of challenge, it's the type of thing that forces that perspective of, oh shit, this is a real thing that is really happening. And this guy has now like swam in Antarctica, like that shouldn't be a thing that's happening. So I think it was a great concept, and I think it was executed and documented fantastically.
Frozen Waters. I absolutely really love this documentary, and kudos to Lewis Pugh, I hope I'm saying your name right, for doing this. Wow. Very impressive. I really enjoyed the structure of this documentary. I enjoyed the message of the documentary. I think it's extremely important. The fact that you could even swim there, I guess, is the point. Shouldn't be able to. And what beautiful camera work. The landscape is beautiful, and you highlighted it really well with the lighting, and the overhead shots were gorgeous. The editing, uh, the different the people talking about the experience as it's happening, and talking about, I like how he said, I'm frightened, but I try not to think too much, which goes, I think, can be used for many things in life, as long as you're really not in too much danger. But this guy was uh, in a crazy situation, and to feel that fear and do it anyway, it was very impressive. And I like how they said fear is contagious, but courage is also contagious. And he reiterated that after he got out. And I just thought this whole documentary was pieced together so well. There was a lot of information, and about the fact that it needs protection, and the world leaders are the ones that decide that, and that's what their goal is here. And I hope you guys meet that goal so much, because yeah, action does need to be taken now. And if there's any way any other people can help, I would love to know more about that. So if there's any way you can add something to this, if somebody wants to figure out how to help, or work toward this cause as well, that would be great. So great job and good luck.
So I really like Frozen Waters. I thought I thought it was a brilliant idea to like make a larger point about the environment using this story of the guy swimming, of like swimming through the thing, because like I think it's like it's one thing to like hit people with facts and blah blah blah, and like while that can be effective, like it's also effective, and I think more creative to like tell us a story. Like I think like the same way like people watch Netflix more than they listen to professor lectures, you know? So it's like give us character with a story and a goal and a journey and conflict and growth, and show human like the power of humanity to make a larger point about why we should conserve the environment and all that stuff. I think that's brilliant. I think that worked wonderfully here in a way that like it reminded me of like Bear Grylls, like Man vs. Wild, where like a lot of times like it would be like, this is what like I'm gonna show you how to do this thing, and you're like, oh snap, how are we gonna do this thing? And it's like that's crazy. Why would you do that? But then it's like, okay, but this is what humanity is capable of when they put their mind to it. You know, like how he said we're capable. Like fear is contagious, but courage is also contagious, and like humanity is capable of great fear and also great courage, and we have the choice to make about which one we want to do. So it's like I thought it was really well done, yo. Great job.
Frozen Waters is an intense and immersive journey that follows a man as he prepares to swim through the icy waters surrounded by these towering icebergs. I thought the visuals were stunning. It really draws you in his personal experience. And yeah, we're with him every step of the way, feeling this cold and feeling the cold and the tension build. The documentary does a good job at making this suspense feel palpable, and when he finally makes it, the moment of him actually swimming in the waters feels grandiose in its simplicity. It's portrayed. Um, it's yeah, to me, it told me it's the kind of achievement that doesn't need a grand celebration. Just the raw, quiet power of the moment speaks for itself. I thought it was really effective.